went back and changed history, thereby creating a paradox. We need to stop Henry from saving Kim.
It's one of the things about making TV shows, which is that you don't know what you have yet. You're still building something. You know, you have an idea, and the more people that get involved and they bring their expertise to it, it kind of grows and changes, and you're trying to sort of find the show for that first season. And there's a lot of pressure, obviously, to come out with good ratings and your strongest episodes. And we have always had an episodic nature, obviously, to our show. There's an A-story problem or mystery for Carter to have to figure out, but we've tried to have threads that sort of carry us through multiple episodes or mini arcs or seasonal arcs. And one of those was, Beverly Barlow and what she really was after and what the group of people that she was working with wanted with the artifact and its connection to Kevin and all these things. And then we had to reorder our episodes in season 1 because there were some that I think the network executives felt were stronger than others. But when you did that, it really made some of the arcs that we were building for those characters, for Beverly in particular, out of context, they didn't work. So they just got lifted from those episodes. So I don't think we got a chance to really kind of pay off the way that we had hoped to.
This can't be real.
We were talking about going back to 1947, which was a concept that we've had since season 1, to go back to the origins of Eureka, and weren't able to do it for a number of reasons. One, very expensive to do a period episode, and for just a one-off, it's even more expensive. You've got to build sets that you don't already own. You have to get extras, and you have to get costumes, and you have to get cars, and all those elements. But when we started to look at doing it as a season opener, how this could be a really interesting thing, and then what would happen when they came back. And the original thought was, we'll come back and then Trevor Grant will have followed them, and that maybe there'll be one small change that would be really kind of funny. And then it was really that kind of Eureka moment where it's like, oh, we don't just have to change one thing, we can change everything.
The five of us got transported back in time through some wormhole thingy thanks to the bridge device. We eventually found our way back home, but surprise, home wasn't exactly the way we left. Henry, married. Zane and Joe, never dated. But Joe's in charge of GD security. Kevin, different, much to Allison's surprise. And Fargo, head of global dynamics, much to everyone's surprise. Oh, and Dr. Old Spice hitched a ride with us back to the present, but there's one crappy rule.
We can't tell anyone.
If people ever found out about our trip, there'd be trouble.
And this was one of those times where we saw this perfect blend where we could really just change everything up and see what happened with those relationships.
43 Banger, take 2. Yep.
And action!
Final system checks underway. Initiate activation protocols.
Well, I mean, I think we sort of lost our way a little bit. I think season 2 and 3, we got into procedurals. There was always some disgruntled scientist who was unhappy that he or she was not getting the credit that they were due and did something terrible, and it was up to Carter to find out who did it, which was never what the series was meant to be. There was this mythology that we set up in the very first season about where we'd come from, why Eureka existed. There was the secret about the consortium, which Beverly was involved in, and that's how we started. And I think there was a real need on the writers' part to start anew this season.
Writers like to write sort of 10-episode arcs. So the mythology is hugely important to the show because it ties all of these arcs together. You have these arcs of 10 that go from season to season to season, and if it worked for the mythology, sort of tying it all together, it might start to feel a little wishy-washy.
We've really sort of put the mythology back into its place and made it a bit of a stronger element to the show. We're tying up a lot of loose ends that maybe sort of were left kind of floundering for a bit.
The first season is now relived in our fourth season. I think our fourth season has been our absolute best season, and that is definitely credited to our fantastic writers who have made a lot of really fun story changes, and just doing the whole new timeline and all of that has just really given everybody a new opportunity to explore their characters and explore the ideas that this show can have.
So it should play that, right? Like it's fine to have that? Okay.
When the season 4 opens, she is not married to Henry, and then when we get into the alternate timeline, she is.
Sometimes Henry acts as if he's been a bachelor his whole life.
And so we sort of take this journey of discovering that we are married, figuring out what to do about that and how awkward it is just to meet your husband for the first time. I think what she brings to season 4 is sort of like a side of Henry that maybe the audience hasn't seen before. This sort of tender side, she's into practical jokes, they have this great sort of rapport together, they finish each other's sentences, and I don't think they've seen quite that side of Henry before.
Okay, we gotta move fast. Can you flip the switch, make the anger off, happy on?
Are you kidding me? Hello, I'm Sheriff Carter. I'm gonna save the day with my everyman logic.
I think the heart of the show is Carter. How he lands here, how he falls in love with Allison, all those kinds of things is very much a part of the mythology of Eureka.
I think that people want to see me with Carter. And I think that, you know, it's been fun over the years to bring in obstacles to our relationship. But at a certain point, I think people were going, hey, if they're in love, we want to see what that could be. It was a good idea that we turned the corner on that, and we're getting to see a little bit of Allison and Carter being in love.
I think what people are going to find the most entertaining about the second half is the continued development of the voices of the other characters of the show. So what I like about it now is the faith that the writers are putting and the network is putting in the other cast members, and they really develop sort of their relationships and their voices and their plots and their stories, and that's the most gratifying thing and the most entertaining thing, I think, about the second half of the season, is you see so many little details.
Oh, do you want to go ahead and do it now? Just in case?
I want to tell you I love you. Just in case.
It's such a cool conceit to sort of, be constant in the characters in the town, but be able to have such a twist that you're reinventing what was already there. Having Holly come in the middle of the season, she's an outsider, but she is the kind of person that, on the tech side is just going to be barging in all the time. But on the personal side, it's a little more delicate, and she's definitely wormed into all the people in the town and been able to form at least a little bit of a relationship, which has been really, really fun.
I think Eureka at its heart is about the people. Put the science on the outside of it, and it's fun and interesting and poppy and keeps the show interesting. And that's like part and parcel of what the mythology is. And I think that's sort of like the super glue that holds the whole show together, because the mythology is there. It's not just kind of tacked on, it's actually interwoven with all the characters. So that's what makes Eureka such a graceful show, in my opinion, is that you've got the mythology and all these great characters, and they come together beautifully.
We are about to shoot our fantastic goodbye scene with Joe and Zane right now, and it's emotional and it's very dramatic and heartfelt. You're going to love this.
X-ray 22, take 2, A-Mark.
To have an arc that you're playing out 10 episodes changes things dramatically, because instead of just having one tight, succinct unit within the episode, you're having to string your through lines through every single thing. You try to, as an actor, to make sure that what you did in the last episode is carrying through, and that's what's developed you to this point in your life. But having that through line, knowing that's going all the way until the end, makes it a lot easier as an actor to really tap into the story and stay within the story and stay within the unit. And like all of our episodes in the back 10, you need them. You need the correlation of them to see what's going on, which is really cool. And I think that's a really good direction for the show to have went.
We saw Beverly. She was teleported out of Global Dynamics under kind of duress, and that was an alternate timeline. And that Beverly, I think, has a different history than the Beverly that comes in for season 4.
I know about your passion, how you formed this consortium of scientists who wanted to protect us from ourselves. This is a chance to restore your legacy.
There's two mysteries to me. I never know if it's pronounced consortium or consortium. I have no idea. I hear it both ways. Also, I don't know what, in the end, their actual plan is. I mean, could they be a terrorist organization, or could they be a weird thing that's part of the government, that's sort of a shadow government within the government that's trying to bring it back to the military? There's so many questions about it that I don't know. That's why I really kind of like it coming back, because even I actually purposely don't ask Jaime and them what they are, because I want to find out as it goes along. I like the mystery.
When we saw the opportunity to bring Beverly Barlow back into this, and that we had this great new character with James Callis, I think that it was really interesting to sort of see how that began, and to see a different side to Beverly Barlow from where we knew her before.
I swear I never meant to hurt anyone. No, you just helped Beverly Barlow steal the doomsday device to travel back in time.
She was very close to convincing Trevor Grant that he needed to go back in time, and just the thought of that, access to that kind of power for Beverly was palpable. That if she could put Trevor back in 1947 and really start shaping future events, she would have great control. I remind myself that Allison Blake saved Beverly Barlow's father, so if it wasn't for Allison Blake, Beverly wouldn't exist. And I don't know if the writers have thought about that or what element that has, but it helps give some subtext when I have scenes, or if I ever have scenes with Allison.
46, 62. Yep. Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark. Action! Allison, can you hear me? Allison, can you hear me?
Get him out of there.
Team leaders, enter abort codes now.
We're locked out, sir, and the countdown is still accelerating.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
What happens to Dr. Blake if the ship launches?
Without a biopod to protect her from gravitational stresses, the only chance she has is the jump seat.
I'm getting her out of there.
Jack, you cannot go out there. The FTL is about to reach full power.
Well, I'm gonna stop it before it does.
I can't let you do that. It's too dangerous.
Don't fire me!
I was trying to figure out what would happen actually after the launch. Like, where are we actually driving to? Loved the idea of there being a project that was given to the town that everybody could sort of rally behind and sort of do our own version of Apollo 13 in Eureka. But ultimately, did I really want to see Carter and Henry and Fargo on Titan? And the more we talked about it, it was like, where are we going to really end up with this? We're not going to do Eureka Season 5 on Titan. We're going to still be our town. We want to have our stories grounded here. We came up with the Eureka moment that we could have this entire thing be essentially a weeding out process to choose the greatest minds in Eureka, you know, the cream of the crop, and put them into this capsule that is going to be zapped to Titan, supposedly.
What's happening, Doctor?
I'm locked out of the system. The ship is about to launch, and I can't stop it.
Henry doesn't know how it's happened. Somebody has taken over the launch sequence. And they're gone. We just don't know where.
Where'd they go?
And that is what we're going to answer in Season 5. Man, the reset has just been so much fun for everybody. It's like re-energized the show, I think, for certainly for us as writers, the cast, the crew. Everybody seems like so excited to have essentially our same show, our same world, and our same people, but you take those dynamics and you just turn them 90 degrees and watch what happens, and it's been completely re-energizing.
Rap party, where's everybody going? I got free arms. If anyone needs a hug, oh, there we go.
All of us have been blessed to work on this show, and I think this year is the best work that all of us have done, and I think we put way more gas in the gas tank than anybody expected.
I think that when you're doing any sort of sci-fi show, especially one that needs to last for years, you need the mythology to keep people excited and wondering when the secrets are going to be revealed to them.
This show, for its fourth season, is sort of, with pushing that reset button, was like, you know, an wide new horizon. And, you know, it's sort of going at all 4 cylinders, this show, you know, or 6 cylinders, or clearly I'm not the mechanic that I play on TV. The mythology of the show has been really interesting to explore and to see how it's playing out in the other characters, and to see the other actors figuring out how their mythology fits into this particular incarnation, this particular season. That's been really great.
I think returning to the beginning or rebooting the season, as they've been saying it is, emotionally it was really important. I think spiritually it was important for all of us. And then from a plot standpoint, we really got to sort of set the tone for what's going to be the rest of the run. When looking back now, saying, is it important? Yeah, it was hugely important because it's done us an amazing service.
Okay, we're done.